Rubin show recently, and they were talking about the $15 minimum wage proposal from a lot of lefties. And Andrew came out against it in a lot of ways, but his reasoning might surprise you. And then my opinion on that might surprise you as well. So check it out, Rubin.
One of the things that we hear the Democrats always talking about is $15 minimum wage. I actually don't know your policy on that.
Well, I'm for the spirit that if you're working full-time, you should not be poor. But if you were to increase the minimum wage to $15, it would hasten the automation of all these fast food jobs that pay $9. There are all these
everywhere.
Yes.
iPad. That's it.
There are all these hardware stores and like Main Street retailers that are just scraping by, that are paying people $9, $10 an hour. You take that up to $15 an hour, they're 100% going to cut shifts, cut workers. It's much better just to give everyone $1,000 a month. It's an effective raise of $6 an hour for anyone who's working full time. It doesn't come out of the pockets of small businesses. It recognizes parents and caregivers and nurturers that the minimum wage does not touch. And it's actually better for small business, because is that hardware store going to be busier if everyone has money? Yes. And so instead of taking it out of this hardware store, and this is one thing that drives me nuts about the left. I mean, I've run a small company. It's like sometimes people imagine that like every business just must be somehow made of money.
Yeah.
It's totally not the case, particularly in this era of mega consolidation, where you have these giant companies just coming and running amok. Like they're made of money, sure, but it's like the average independent business made of money, such that you can just say, hey, pay everyone $15 an hour, and it's not going to have any effect on shit.
What happened there, that disconnect in the left now, where they do this with this $15 minimum wage? Because I agree, they sort of think that everything is equal, so that my small business, where we have 5 full-timers, let's say, and 5 part-timers, is equal to Amazon, which they're also not thrilled with Amazon. They have too many employees, I maybe have too few employees. Like there's always some weird number. Maybe if I had 27 employees, it's the exact amount that's right. But I know, even right now, we're hiring interns, but we're paying them because I don't want people to work for me for free. I want them to feel good about what they're doing. You know what I mean? And I want them to feel incentivized and all those things. But that concept that you just hit on there, how do we break through to that? Because it seems so obvious to me. You can't tell a guy that's got a little business, just forget me, just take some YouTuber who's got 1 employee and wants to bring on someone else. Now there's some kid that really wants to learn YouTube. And it's like, he'd probably work for free, but I want to give him $8 an hour. To me, there's nothing wrong with that, but they would literally force you to not hire the guy.
Yeah, and so that's, again, why I think this freedom dividend is so superior, because...
But what do you think they're thinking? I got what you're thinking now, but what do you, like, truly, this is the disconnect that I can't figure out. Like, do they actually think they're doing the right thing, or does it just sound easy, so you just say it, $15 minimum wage, of course.
So what were the arguments presented there? All right. So they basically said that if we implemented a $15 minimum wage, what you would see is massive job loss, especially for small businesses. That's what they insinuated, right? And they also insinuated that the left can't seem to distinguish the difference between a large business like Amazon, some huge, global, amazing industry, and then a small business, just an average mom and pop. Dave, you even used the ridiculous example of some YouTuber and then some kid like me, trying to hop on, and usually you want to pay him maybe $8 an hour. Instead, you would now have to pay him $15 per hour. So that kid has lost an opportunity because you just simply can't afford that. All right. Now, I'm not denying that some cases like that might exist. However, that pales in comparison to the large amount of economic growth and prosperity that you would now see, because millions of low-wage earners across the country would now have the opportunity to participate in the economy. They would rise above the poverty line. They'll be able to live a dignified life, where instead of struggling to survive, living paycheck to paycheck, wondering where the next meal is going to come from, wondering how they're going to pay the rent, not being able to actually participate in the economy, now they have the wages that they need. Now they're able to live a dignified life, feed their families, and maybe splurge a bit on this here and there. Maybe actually participate here, maybe buy this, maybe buy that. Now they are engaged in the economy. That's an entirely new market of low-wage earners that you've now opened up, because you are allowing businesses to pay their workers a living wage. They don't see the adverse effects of that just because some smaller businesses would now be negatively affected by that, there would be way more large-term economic prosperity that would offset some of those consequences. All right. And this isn't just me talking, some 17-year-old YouTuber. These are facts. backed up by studies. All right, so I'm going to get into that right now. So Seattle, that is one of the, I think it's the first city which actually implemented a $15 minimum wage. All right, so they phased it in incrementally, and now they're getting to the point where it's actually at $15 per hour. All right, and the University of Washington released a study earlier this year talking about some of those effects. Now, what they found was that there was largely little to no actual job loss. All right, in low wage earners, in terms of like that industry slash sector, there was little to no actual job loss. All right, and in fact, their wages, of course, increased by $19 per week. So sometimes they had the amount of hours that they worked was reduced. However, overall, they earned more money in the long term. All right. However, the only negative effect that they found was that those trying to enter low wage jobs, they found it much harder to actually find that employment. However, as they stated, there was little to no actual job loss due to this. All right, and these findings are backed up by other studies as well. Well, we also found the Economic Policy Institute. There was a couple of economists who are linked with the Economic Policy Institute. They work at the University of Mass Amherst. I actually go to school near there. And again, they studied all the minimum wage increases since the 80s. All right, and they studied what were some of the effects of that. Was there large-scale job loss? Was there large-scale job growth? And did the wages of the low-income earners actually increase? And what they found was that, yes, their wages increased, and also that there was little to no actual job loss linked directly to these minimum wage increases. All right? So simply because you increase the minimum wage, that does not result in massive job loss. These studies are becoming more and more evidently clear that that is simply not true. It is a right-wing talking point that is not backed up by reality. I want y'all to do me a favor. Dave Rubin and Shapiro, all these faux intellectual fucks on the right, I want y'all to do me a favor. I want y'all to stop spouting these talking points. I want you to stop acting as if I'm so amazing, I'm with the facts, I know the logic, I know everything. I know everything, shut up. You don't know everything, all right? The evidence is clear, and do your homework. Stop spouting talking points that you really don't know anything about. All right. Now, I'll cut Andrew Yang some slack. He may not have seen the research. That's okay. He's still an incredibly smart man. I love the guy. And again, he's like my third choice candidate. All right. So I'm going to spare him any rants here. But I'll just say the evidence is clear. All right. And y'all can look it up for your damn selves. The evidence is abundantly clear that we can indeed have a society where all of our workers are paid a decent and dignified wage, where they're able to go and participate in the economy and pursue some version of the American dream without busting up the rest of the economy. The evidence is clear. All right, so let's do away with that myth and let's wreck these dudes' whole careers who all of a sudden want to go out here and act as if they know everything, when in reality, they just don't.